What if I told you that two tiny coins, worth almost nothing, could teach one of the greatest lessons Jesus ever gave? Imagine standing in the temple in Jerusalem. Rich merchants walk in wearing expensive robes. The sound of heavy coins echoes as they throw large offerings into the treasury. People stop and watch. Everyone notices their generosity. Then, almost unnoticed, a poor widow quietly approaches. She isn't famous. She has no influence. No one applauds her. She reaches into her hand and drops in just two tiny coins. The sound is so faint that most people don't even hear it. To the crowd, her gift seemed worthless, but to Jesus, it was priceless. Why? How could two tiny coins become one of the greatest examples of faith recorded in the Bible? And what life-changing lesson did Jesus want every generation to learn from this remarkable woman? Stay with us until the very end, because the final truth behind these two small coins may completely change the way you see faith, generosity, and your relationship with God. Before we begin, if you enjoy discovering the hidden lessons and mysteries of the Bible, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kingdom Mysteries, and share it with someone who loves studying God's Word. Your support helps us continue bringing biblical truth to people around the world. Our story takes us to the final week of Jesus' earthly ministry. Jerusalem was crowded with worshippers who had come to celebrate the Passover. The temple was filled with activity. People prayed. Priests carried out their duties. Families brought offerings. Religious leaders moved through the courts. It was one of the busiest places in the nation. Near the temple treasury stood 13 offering boxes where people placed their gifts. Jesus sat nearby with his disciples, but he was not watching the size of the offerings. He was watching the hearts of the people giving them. One by one, wealthy individuals approached. Many gave large amounts. Their gifts were impressive. To everyone watching, these seemed to be the most important donations of the day. Then came a woman who probably expected no one to notice her. The Bible describes her simply as a poor widow. In the first century, widows often lived in extremely difficult circumstances. Without a husband to provide for them, many struggled just to survive. This woman had almost nothing, yet she stepped forward with quiet faith. She reached into her hand and dropped two small copper coins into the offering box. The Gospel of Mark tells us these were two lepta, the smallest coins in circulation at the time. Together, they were worth very little in monetary terms. To human eyes, the gift seemed insignificant. But at that very moment, Jesus called his disciples to him. He wanted them to notice something everyone else had missed. Imagine their surprise. Surely Jesus was about to point out the wealthy donors whose large gifts could support the temple. Instead, he pointed to the widow. Then he said words that have challenged believers for nearly 2,000 years. Truly, I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others. How could that be? The rich had given far greater amounts. Their offerings were measured in many coins. The widow had given only two tiny pieces of copper. Yet Jesus continued, they all gave out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, put in everything she had, all she had to live on. Those words completely changed the way God's kingdom measures generosity. The world often measures a gift by its size. God measures it by the heart behind it. The wealthy donors may have given large amounts, but they still had plenty left. The widow gave everything she had. Her offering required trust. It required faith. It required surrender. She was placing her future into God's hands. That is why Jesus praised her. This story is not teaching that wealth itself is wrong. Throughout the Bible, there were faithful men and women whom God blessed with great resources. The issue was never the amount. The issue was the condition of the heart. God is not impressed merely by the value of a gift. He delights in wholehearted devotion. The widow's two coins remind us that even what seems small in human eyes can be precious to God when it is given with sincere faith. Think about our own lives. It is easy to believe that we have little to offer. We may compare ourselves with people who have more money, more influence, more talents, or more opportunities, but Jesus' words challenge that way of thinking. He shows that faithfulness matters more than comparison. What we place into God's hands, even if it seems small, can have lasting significance. The widow was not trying to impress anyone. She did not know that her simple act of faith would be remembered wherever the gospel is read. She simply trusted God enough to give him everything. That quiet act became one of the most powerful lessons on generosity ever recorded. And perhaps that is why her story continues to speak to us today, because it asks each of us a question. When God looks at our lives, does he see reluctant giving or wholehearted trust? The answer to that question reaches far beyond money. It touches every part of our relationship with him. Because the truth is, this story is about far more than money. The widow's 2 coins represent something deeper. They represent trust. Imagine what may have happened after she left the temple. She still needed food. She still needed shelter. Her circumstances had not suddenly changed, yet she walked away having given everything she had. Most people would have held back at least 1 coin for themselves. She gave both. Why would someone do that? Because somewhere in her heart, she believed that God was more reliable than the little security she could hold in her hand. That is the kind of faith Jesus wanted his disciples to see. Remember the context of this event. Just before this, Jesus had been warning against religious hypocrisy. Some religious leaders loved public recognition. They enjoyed honor, status, and the appearance of spirituality. Their religion was often visible to people. The widow's faith was visible only to God. What a contrast. One group wanted to be seen. The other simply wanted to honor God. Jesus was teaching that heaven's values are often completely opposite to the world's values. In God's kingdom, the unnoticed may become examples for generations. The forgotten may be remembered forever. The poor widow became a teacher to the disciples themselves. Think about Peter, John, and the others listening to Jesus that day. They had left their homes to follow him. Soon they would face persecution, hardship, and sacrifice. This widow showed them what total surrender looks like. She held nothing back. And that raises an important question for us today. What are the 2 coins in your life? Perhaps it is not money at all. Perhaps it is your time, your talent, your dream, your future, your willingness to obey God, even when the outcome is uncertain. Many people think God can only use those who have great resources. But throughout the Bible, God repeatedly uses what seems small. A shepherd's staff in Moses' hand, 5 loaves and 2 fish in the boy's lunch, a mustard seed of faith, and here, 2 tiny coins from a poor widow. The power was never in the object itself. The power was in what happened when it was placed into God's hands. This is why the title, How 2 Coins Can Change Your Life, is so meaningful. Those coins changed lives not because of their monetary value, but because they reveal a life completely surrendered to God. When we stop clinging to what little we have and begin trusting God with it, our hearts change. Fear begins to lose its control. Faith begins to grow. Jesus was watching the treasury that day, but he was really watching hearts. And he is still watching hearts today. He sees the gift given in secret. He sees the prayer whispered in weakness. He sees the act of obedience that no one else notices. Nothing offered to God with sincere faith is ever insignificant. If this message is encouraging you today, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kingdom Mysteries, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded that God values faithfulness more than human applause. Your support helps us continue sharing the life-changing truths of Scripture with people around the world. Now let us look at one final truth that makes this story even more powerful. The widow gave all she had to live on. Those words point us to another sacrifice that would soon take place. Only a short time after this event, Jesus himself would give everything. He would not offer silver or gold. He would offer his own life on the cross. The widow gave all she possessed. Jesus gave all he was. Her sacrifice points us toward his greater sacrifice. That is the beauty of the gospel. God does not ask us to give what he himself has not already demonstrated. He first loved us. He first gave. And when we truly understand his love, generosity becomes a response of gratitude rather than a burden. The widow's story also challenges a dangerous misconception. Some people believe that small acts of obedience do not matter. But imagine if this woman had decided, "My 2 coins are too small to make a difference." We would never have heard her story. Yet Jesus made her example immortal. What seems small today may have eternal significance tomorrow. A small prayer can change a family. A small act of kindness can restore hope. A small step of obedience can open a door God has prepared for years. In God's hands, small things often become the beginning of great things. The world celebrates abundance. Jesus celebrates faithfulness. The world notices the loudest voices. Jesus notices the quietest surrender. The world remembers the powerful. Jesus remembered a poor widow whose name we do not even know. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. Heaven's eyes were fixed on the one person the crowd ignored. Now I want to ask you something personally. If Jesus were sitting beside the treasury of your life today, what would he see? Would he see gifts given only when they cost nothing? Or would he see a heart willing to trust him completely, even with what feels precious and small? The widow could not. Imagine that her simple act would encourage millions of believers across centuries. But God often uses ordinary moments to reveal extraordinary truths. So the next time you feel that what you have is too small, remember the widow, remember the 2 coins, remember the words of Jesus. This poor widow has put in more than all the others. Thank you for watching. And remember, 2 small coins may seem worthless in human hands, but when they are given with complete trust in God, they become a testimony that can inspire the world for generations.